take you through is one of exam preps that was shared, but we're not going to go into each question into all the detail. So today I just want to go through all the questions, give you some tips. Most of the answers are there as well, and then that you first see if you can do it. Then next Tuesday we will actually go through each question to see which ones you struggled with and which ones you want assistance. So today, as we go through, I am gonna give tips and say what we need to do. We look at so if there's something that we need to identify, if standard deviation is known or unknown. So all of that things we'll do today. Then you can try a bit over the next few days to see if you can work it out. And then on Tuesday, we will go through everything so that you can see how it is done. Okay, the first question was a bit of a weird one that was shared. So basically, in this question, you need to identify what these variables are. And how this question was structured was actually that they said all of them are the same. And then the answer was none of the given options would fit all of them. But what I thought was, let's just identify what each of these are up until here, and then when something like this comes up, you will be able to answer it in the exam. Okay, so the first one that we looked at is level of education, primary, secondary, higher. So this one has order in it because you start at primary, you then go to secondary, you then go to higher. So that first one, and let's see if I can do colors, will be qualitative, ordinal. Okay, then something like size of organization, small, medium, large, exactly the same. It is qualitative, ordinal. And so let's see if I can go to a different color, because type of industry, agriculture, manufacturing, mining, there's no order in that. So it's still seen as qualitative, but because no order, it is nominal. Then something like number of people. Okay, so number of, that is an indication of quantitative. Number of people, remember, number of people can't be continuous because it's one person, two, three, or four. So number of will be something like quantitative discrete. Okay, and when I say there's a few other things that was collected, current job satisfaction, discomfort, neutral, satisfied. So again, that gives us order. So that again will be a qualitative ordinal. And then those two, waist circumference and body fat percentage. Okay, that's an interesting one because both of them can be discrete depending on what they tell us, but just by that it is continuous because they don't tell us is it waist circumference in centimeters, meters, or what's the body fat percentage that I am between both of them. Percentage, I'm hoping that it is 99% but again, it might also be, so let's rather read it as it is. So body fat, also because we don't know, is it 100%, is it 99.95%? We don't know if it is rounded off. So for that, I will also then, for what they've given us, I will say it's a continuous variable. Okay. Yeah, so that's why I will also go for continuous for that, unless they tell you a certain thing about the percentage. So if they say it's a full number percentage or something like that, but normally they don't. So that's why I would also go with this one as a continuous variable. Okay, so that was the first question. I really didn't understand how it was supposed to, how the drop down will work, and if it was supposed to be all that were the same that you need to choose, or if there was something specific later on. So that's why I thought the first question, let's rather just identify all of them as what it will be, and then one can rather go to the other questions and give you tips on that. So question 2, and I think this was at this stage a question on our WhatsApp group as well. So the following is a relative frequency, and when I ask us, suppose that a total of 11 managers attended the workshop, what's the frequency of the agricultural sector? And I thought this was also, when I worked it out, I got a different answer. So I don't know when you guys worked it out what you got. But the first thing I would have done, and sorry, let's take that away. So the first thing I would have done is to work out what is the value of, or the percentage of agricultural. So if I tally that, originally I got 0.22, but let's quickly just check again. 0.11 plus 0.35 plus 0.15 plus 0.17. So that is 0.78. If I subtract that, one does get 0.22. So what I would have been done is to say, suppose that of 111 managers, what is the frequency of the agriculture? I would have multiplied those two, and then I would definitely not have gotten 15. So that's why I also thought this was was incorrect. So I don't know if somebody else, but I've got 24 for this. Okay, so I see, yeah, so I also see, so I'm definitely going to ask the lecturer about this one because that is what I got out of it is that it should be 24 and not 15. Um, and it's not that I've missed out anything in this. The following partial sectors or industry who attended the workshop. So yeah, so there's definitely, so even if it was supposed to be 100, then it would have been 22 of 100, which would have been 22. So again, so something here doesn't doesn't add up. It nearly feels more to me that, yeah, I don't know which one was supposed to go to the, so if we said maybe mining, yeah, so all of them is a bit dodgy. So yeah, this one I'm definitely gonna just ask this evening for the lecturer to just say how they got to 15 because I was also not happy with this one. Okay, so let's just go to the next one. And yeah, some of them we're gonna talk through. Some of them I'm gonna basically give you a way of calculating it, and then we will do that calculation or go through that on Tuesday evening to make sure that we get it. But yeah, I first want to give you guys some tips on the questions. So let's look at the third question. Okay, so again, didn't really understand how this was done in the assignment or but let's rather go and answer some of these questions. So we've got a frequency distribution, and then one of the questions is what's the number of classes? So it seems like here was now something that you could have chosen some of the answers, but let's just look number of classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would have then been the correct one. What percentage of observations are less than or equal to 49? Okay, so it is that amount. So what percentage did they say how many? Else we just need to count. 10, 24, what's that, 41, 50. Let's just make sure if it is 50. Okay, so there's a total of 50. So what percentage of observations are less than or equal to 49? So up until there would have been 48. So 48 divided by 50 is 96. So that's why I said I don't, some of these are screen grab, didn't fully understand that. Okay, so that was the two questions, number of classes. Yeah, so obviously what then was given to you guys was that you needed to choose two of them. So the one would have been you choose that one for the 96, and the other one would have been you choose the 5. But again, this is not how in the exam it is one question that you need to answer. But you can see they've included in these answers a few different things. So if you looked at the class width, there's an answer for you. The 3, I don't know how they got to the 3. And that would have been probably if you set 41, so up until there would have given you the 82. So there is a few ways to get the others, but basically just wanted to show those two, how we got those two answers. Okay, see, so here was also a question, other one that was on class width, which was 10, and then observations less than, which gave you, so you can see it could have been a few different ways that they structured the question. And that again is just a reminder of how your questions will be structured as well. There is, I think, 3 different questions, okay, 3 different questions per question nearly. That makes sense. So there's basically a randomized three different exam papers. Okay, so this one was one that is a bit longer. So calculate the mean and choose the correct answer. So you basically know how to work out the mean. So it's the sum of all the x's divided by n. So we're not going to work that out, but it does give you the answer. Also, if you want to check and just practice, look at if you can identify the mode. Look at it if you can identify the median. So the mode, remember, you don't need it to be ranked. So when you try to work out the mode, you just look for the number that occurs the most. So it looks like the mode would have been something like 12. Let's just see. There's 2 7s, there's 2 8s. Okay, so the mode would have been 12. And then you can also check the median, the one in the middle, but please remember it needs to be ranked. Okay, so for this one, they ask the median, the mean, but they could have asked your mode and median as well. Okay, I will also, after we've gone through this tonight, I will reshare this with you guys again, that you can then also look at it and practice a bit. Okay, this was, I thought, a interesting question. So with this, what they did was to say there's a sample of 20 and assume that the observations are in ascending order. Which of the following statements is incorrect? Okay, so first they say, okay, so the sum of x minus the mean is equal to 0. Okay, so that's a quite an interesting one. So they basically say if you've got all of those numbers and you work out the mean and you say 4 minus the mean, let's just quickly work that out. 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9. It's 59. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you take that plus 5 minus the mean, and you do that for all of them, your answer will be 0. That is correct. Okay, so you can go and test it with a set of data, because what's going to happen is here we've got minus 2.5, there's minus 1.5, but on the other side, you get the positives again. So if you add all of them together, you will get equal to 0. Okay, so the first quartile is given by the observation in the 5th position. Quartiles are, remember, first quartile x plus 1 divided by 4, 20 plus 1 divided by 4 is 5.25. So we know we round it off to 5, which is correct. The third quartile, okay, so that is 3 times x plus 1 divided by 4. So 3 times 21 divided by 4. Okay, 15,75. So if we round that off, it's to the highest number, 16. So it's not position 15, it is position 16. And then we can look at the others. When the number of observations is even, the median is given by the average between the 2 middle observations. Correct. And the second quartile and median is exactly the same. So it is the average of those two, which is also correct. Okay, so remember with this one, if it was to the power of 2, then it would not always equal to 0, because then everything is a positive number. So even when your 4 minus 6.5, if it was to the power of 2, it will become positive. So there are, like this one, 23 questions in the exam. And it is normally, 23 questions with some that is 2 or 3 marks, some 4 marks, but it is in total 23 questions. And the reason why 23 questions is because it is 2 questions per study unit, which gives you 22 questions. And then one of the study units, I think it's all the confidence interval one or the discrete distribution one, where there is 3 questions on. For all the other study units, it is 2 questions per study unit. Okay, so this one was a bit longer. Okay, so consider the sample data um, and calculate the sample standard deviation. Okay, so this one will use a calculator, so you're allowed to use your calculators in the exam, and you are allowed to use Excel. So you are. Oh yes, you can yeah, you can you can ask. um, so 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 Excel and calculators are allowed, so no worries about that. And this is something that I would do with Excel. I don't know my calculator well enough to do this in on a calculator. So please try this and see if you can get to that answer. Just remember sample standard deviation. So you're going to work out that sum for all of them, but then for the sample, the important one is n minus 1. Okay, so that is important. So if it was population, then it would have been exactly the same, but you would have divided by n. And that, I can assure you, if you work this out, you will get an answer for the sample, which is this one. And if you've done the population where it's just divided by n, you will also get an answer, which is probably going to be option B. Okay, so very important again, if you use Excel, make sure that you use the right formula within Excel. If you use your calculator, make sure you're using the right signage as well. So on Excel, on a calculator, this will be the SX, and the population will be this one. Okay, so just if you're using your calculators, um, just remember what signage to look for, because you can put all of these data in, and then you can work out your standard deviation. But if you press the wrong one, then you're gonna get one of the wrong answers. So yeah, just make 100% sure, and then on Tuesday we will quickly go through this, and I'll show you guys how to do it. So again, tonight just showing you how to get to it and how to work it out, and then next Tuesday we'll we'll go and work it out. Okay, let's quickly check this one. So now we go into probabilities. So they give you numbers, and when they say calculate the probability that a person is Lesotho or other. Okay, that's an interesting one. So that the person is from Lesotho or other. So that formula is what's the probability that the person is from Lesotho plus what's the probability that the person is other minus the probability of Lesotho and other. Okay, so we've got a total here of what is that? Just over 2 million. So how many people are from Lesotho? 227,770 divided by that 2 million. How many people are other? So that is your 422,768. Also divided by that 2 million. And then you need to subtract the and. So that is the 7,1. Let's see if I can just 75164 also divided by 2004425. Okay, so if I quickly try and do that, and let's hope that is correct. Lots of sevens and twos to make it easy to make a mistake in when you type these numbers. And so then I got the 0,2871, okay, which is that one. So I first looked at it and I thought, okay, it's quite a strange question to ask the country combined with the visa type, but then just write it out. Just write it out as you would work it out with how the or is written. So it is the one plus the other one, and then the and you need to subtract. So what we're calculating doesn't always make sense. So we're calculating what's the probability that somebody is from Lesotho or has other visa types. So it doesn't really make sense what we're calculating, but that is what they ask us to calculate. Okay, so that is one of the probability questions. Then on the same data set, we're asking it a bit differently. So, and this one, I'm just going to write out the formula, and then you guys can also go and play with it. But how I always see this is, what's the probability of business and United Kingdom? So what's the and divided by the last one, we're given UK. Okay, so then you can go and see probability of business and UK. So that's the one. And the probability of UK, that is the other one that we're working with. And if you just look at those two, it feels like it is something close to a third. So if you say 2223 divided by 6123, to 83, I just look at the 2 divided by 6, and it feels to me like a third. So it would be one of those two answers at the top. So again, probability question. This one they haven't asked, unless we get to maybe one of them, but they haven't asked anything of dependent, independent, mutually exclusive, or anything like that. So we still will, before you write exam, we will go through another paper. Well, we will go through two more papers that covers that. Okay, so now we go into the discrete probabilities. So that is, what is that, chapter 5, expected value. So expected value, again, just going to give you the way to work it out, is the sum of the x's times the probability. Okay, so you're going to say 0 times that plus 1 plus that, 1 times that plus 2 times that plus 3 times that plus 4 times that, and that will give you the answer of the expected value. Okay, so that is how we would work out the expected value. What they could have done as well is left out one of these probabilities, that you then first need to complete it, because all the probabilities need to be equal to 1. So that is something that they could have done. Okay, let's quickly go back to the previous one. So let's just finish this one. So they could have had one where they left out one of these. So that you first need to complete the line and then work out the expected value of x. Okay, let's quickly go back to this one. So I took a shortcut when I wrote down these numbers. So probability business given United Kingdom. So let me quickly. Okay, so let me quickly write that again. So probability business given United Kingdom is the probability, and how I always remember it is it's the probability of the and of those two. So business and UK divided by the probability of what is lost. So the probability of UK. Okay, so always the probability of the and of those two divided the probability of the last one. So probability of business and United Kingdom is 20223 divided by the total. And then the probability of UK, so everyone from UK, is 61283 divided by the 2004425. Okay, so then what you can see is that that one and that one is exactly the same. So what is left is 20223 divided by 61283. And if I divide that, it will be around a third, which is then option 1. Okay, so I just took a shortcut because I know both of them I'm going to divide by the bigger total. I just said the and divided by the other one. Cool. And so then the next one should be of the discrete, and you guys will see also it does follow your study guide. So it's not going to be random. It follows your study guide where we did study unit 1, study unit 2, study unit 2, study unit 3, study unit 3, one more of study unit 3 actually. Then we went into probability, so study unit 4, study unit 4. Then we go into study unit 5. So your exam will follow that same pattern as well. It's not going to be study unit 1 and then suddenly study unit 9 and then back to study unit 3, then to study unit 4. So it will be from study unit 1 okay. So binomial. So binomial experiment with n is equal to 7, probability success of pi, and then what's the probability that x is at least? Okay, so let's just get that table up, and then again, I'm going to copy that in here if I'm sure I can. I hope I can. So let's just quickly see. So that okay, so let's quickly see if I can do something like that. Let me just move that one. Let's first get to the probabilities. We're looking at, okay, so already sneaky that we do that. So okay, so that was 1 to 6, then 7 to 8. So let's just do quickly a print screen of this. See if we can copy it onto the other one. If it don't allow me, that is okay. No, let's undo that. Okay, so let's just go to that, and then I'll show you guys on there how to get to it. So, and let's make it bigger. Okay, so we're looking at N7. So there is your 7. So but we're looking at, what was it, 0, 0.15. So we're not looking at 0.85. We're looking here, it's supposed to be 0.15. Then they ask us, and let's just get that wording right, probability that x is bigger or equal to 1. And so if you look at that bigger or equal to 1, just want to add and I want to give me, okay, so let's rather do it like that. Okay, so it's that whole area that we need to add up. So bigger or equal to 1. So it's actually just 1 minus 0.3206. Instead of adding all of that together, I would just say 1 minus 0.3206. So 1 minus 0.3206, if I remember correctly. And if we do that, we will get that 0.694. Okay, so very important with this one that it was not the table that we normally know is sitting at the top. We need to use this table, but here at the top is all of those things that is actually on that other table. And what you can also just look at is if it's not here, basically what is written there is 1 minus whatever is on this side. Okay, so 1 minus 0.55 will give you the 0.45. Here it was 1 minus that will give you the 0.15. Okay, so that is how you can use this table. I will save the table as well and share that with you later tonight as well. So it is, what was it, Study Guide 101, but I will share it as we've now written on it and done some work. Okay, so binomial, so the chances are then that you will get a Poisson as well. So let's see, and let's see if we can make this a bit bigger. Okay, so consider the case from question 1 way back. The facilitator of a workshop notes that the average number of managers arriving late for the workshop on any given day is 2.5. Okay, so that is your making it that it is Poisson. So Poisson is, remember, you look at, they talk about average or lambda or anything like that, but also a timeline. Binomial is just something happening or not, but with Poisson, there is a timing issue that is with it. So here they said to us 2.5. Then they ask, what is the probability that on any given day, only one manager? Okay, so again, we go to the table. We go to the Poisson table. And it was, what was it, 2.5. And they said only one manager. Okay, only one manager, 0.2052. 0.2052. Okay, straight from the table, not needing to use in the Poisson or the binomial in this instance, any formulas or anything like that, but to read it straight off the Poisson and binomial table. Okay, so let's look at this one. So this one, we're going to quickly work through because it is a definition type of question. So let's look at what they say. Which one of the following statements about the standard normal distribution is incorrect? Okay, this is starting study unit 6. So not any sampling in here yet. So what we know of a normal standard is that the mean is 0, standard deviation is 1, or the variance is 1. So the standard normal distribution has a variance of 1, correct. Standard normal distribution has a mean of 1. That's incorrect. It should be 0. So that's the incorrect one. But let's look at the others as well. The standard normal distribution is symmetric around the mean. Remember, that is what symmetric means. So one side 0.5, other side 0.5, and that mean is 0. So that also answers question or option A. Probability that Z is smaller or equal to 0 is 0.5 is correct. And this one is also in your study guide. So Z with 1 standard deviation is that. Z with 2 standard deviations, I think it's around 95%. And then Z with 3 standard deviations, and maybe you guys just need to check, it's something around 99%. Okay, so that, just make 100% sure that I know, because they can ask the 2 or 3% as well. Will not go further than 3 standard deviations. And they will also not ask you something like a standard deviation of 1.5. So when they talk about the standard deviations, will always be 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviations, or 3 standard deviations. It will not be weird standard deviations. Okay, question 13. So we now go already into study unit 6. So let's see what is here. The length of stay of tourist with a mean of 14 days, standard deviation of 3 days. You need to calculate the probability. So again, not going to work it out, but let's just give you the formula that you can, and we will cover it on Tuesday. So let's just see, calculate the probability that the length of stay of a random is at least. At least means more than. Okay, so at least 8 days. So minimum 8 days or more. So length okay, so rather let me do it this way. Yeah, okay, we can do it that way. And you can go and work it out. So what's the probability that Z is bigger than this answer. Okay, so at least means more than, so must not be less than 8 days. So at least 8 days, so 8 days or more. So you can go and work this out and check what the probability is and if you get that answer. And also, all right, draw this and see where you will plot it and what it would look like. Okay, so study unit 6, we're not into samples yet, so there was 2 questions on study unit 6. And then that same question, consider the information from the previous, normally distributed with a mean of 14 days, standard deviation. Let random variable x represent the tourist stay. And then they say, suppose that the local tour guides exceed their sales projections for the length of stay of 40% of a tourist visiting South Africa from China is at least X number of days. Okay, so what this is looking at that previous, but now what you need to do is remember we always do Z X minus the mean divided by standard deviation. Then we get that Z and we go and work out the probability. Okay, now they give us the probability and you will need to say from that probability, what is the Z? When you have a Z value, that Z, you are then going to say whatever that Z is equal to my X. I've got my mean. I've got my standard deviation. Okay, so, sorry, you got your, I hope it only, undo. Just want to, don't want now to do that. So then let's just cross that out. I know what the standard deviation is. So you will then get to the X. Okay, so try that a bit. Look at if you can get to it. If I look at these answers, that already tells me X can't be 0,225. That just, so it feels to me, yes, we have the answer, but it feels to me it needs to be something. We look at that, it's close to 0.5, which is in the middle. So 14 would have been 0. So it needs to be something around 14. So go and play a bit and see. And then on Tuesday, we will definitely work this one out. But still study unit 6. Okay, and then we go into here where we need to work out standard error of mean. So we go into study unit 7. Standard error of mean is now so that you guys can go and practice a bit, and then we will do it on Tuesday, and then we will do more on Tuesday as well. So just giving some hints. Some of it we work through, but the things that I think is important for you guys to go and practice, we will cover on Tuesday, like this one, and especially especially this one, that you just go and practice it, please. That because something like this is a question that will come up in your exam. So I rather want you guys to go and practice that one. Okay. Standard error. We've seen standard error before. Just your standard deviation divided by square root of n. Just again, be careful between standard error and when we get to confidence intervals, where we talk about the error around the mean. So just be once again careful in the wording. So the one thing that we then haven't done is proportion. So the next question will be around proportion. Okay, so when you look at proportion, the hotel manager interested in the experience of long stay guests found that 16 of their 80 guests are long stay guests. Calculate the standard error of the proportion. Okay, so 16 divided by 80 will give you the proportion. And then just remember what is that standard error of proportion formula again. I think it is this one. So you've got the N, you've got the P, so you will be able to work that out as well. If you missed one assignment, it is just the average of your 4 assignments. So your mark is just the average of your best 4 assignments. So if you missed one, then it's just the average of the 4 that you have submitted. Yes, there is. Yeah, so it is 23 questions. Um, and it's a weird one, 23 questions, but how it was always structured is that your first 5 study units were 11 questions, and then your second 6 study units was 12. So also remember, it is only, what do you have? 2.5 hours? 2 hours? I will just make 100%, 100% sure. Yeah, 2 hours. So where your other assignments was longer, only have 2 hours for the 23 questions. So very important. Also, I think I got a question on if it's linear or not. So let me just see if the lecturer did say so. I still need to just make sure if you can go back to the previous questions, but I think you cannot. So I will just make 100% sure. Yeah, so the important thing with the questions is, yeah, I'm not the lecturer, I'm a tutor. So unfortunately, I don't always know what is going to be in the paper. So the important thing always is with the questions is to make sure that um, when you get things that standard deviation is known or unknown, that you make 100% sure about those, that you get those questions right as well. Because they do sometimes, like with that question about sample standard deviation that you needed to work out. If you will get marks if you get the answer of um, the population standard deviations, you will get a mark or 2 marks out of the 4. So you will get some kind of mark. But yeah, important that those things you make sure you get right. So the same here with question 17. So you need to construct confidence interval. So let's just make 100% sure when you look at it, what type of confidence interval. So you've got simple random sample, sample mean, sample standard deviation. Okay, so sample standard deviation tells me that population standard deviation is unknown. And so if that is unknown, I will need to work with a t-distribution. Okay, so if you set X or Z, then you will get one of the other answers. So here, what you will need to make sure is that T with the degrees of freedom and alpha divided by 2, what you get there, that is the catch on this question. Okay, so not working with a Z, but you work with that. Okay. So that is the important thing in this one. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So you now see that the one is unknown. So then maybe we now look at the known, but this one we already see population proportion. So that is in study unit 8, that is now your second question. And here it is around then the population proportion that you need to work out. Remember, population proportion will always be with a Z. And the Z times standard error. The same in the previous one, there is your standard error. So the T over Z times your standard deviation. So to become a tutor, you can apply, but you need to have a minimum of a master's degree at the moment to become a tutor. Okay, so that is you had your study unit 8 questions. So now study unit 9, we go into hypothesis testing. So look at hypothesis testing. So one of the local tour guides is convinced that the tourist average length of stay is more than 14 days. In a sample of 20, the mean length of stay was found to be 15.6 days. Okay, so And let's see what was asked here. So calculate the test statistic, the critical value and p-value, and choose the correct answer. Okay, so this is a bit, if you look at the drop-down zone, um, a bit everywhere. So what you first need to work out is the critical value. Um, so look at the 5%, so you can work out your test statistics. So let's just look at population standard deviation. So that is fine. So you can work out your first one with that. Then you've got the 95% level. So 95% level, and you look at it if it is one or two tail. Okay, so then you have that one, and with that critical value that you have created or worked out, you can check if it is the p-value, and depending on which side it is, what is the p-value. Okay, so that is what you guys need to work out. Then also look if it is one tail, it's only the one p-value. If it is two tail, you need to multiply it with 2. So just check, and don't really go now and look for this on the drop down, because the bigger numbers will give you your t-stat and your critical value, and the smaller decimals, that is most likely going to be one of those is going to be your p-value. Yeah, so just rather work all three out. Again, how it's going to be in the exam is not that you need to choose 3 different values. You're going to have A, B, C, D, and you will need to pick. So they're not going to ask you to work all 3 of them out. They will ask you to work one of them out, with A, B, C, or D that you need to pick. You're not going to have a drop down to pick critical value, then a drop down to pick test statistic, and then a drop down to pick p-value. Okay, that's not going to happen. You will have that you need to select one of the options. Okay, so hypothesis testing, that one tested basically all the things that you need to know about hypothesis, because in your answer, it will also be, if you see if it is one or two tail, that will decide on what the rest of this will be. Okay, then we go into study unit 10, which is your chi-square. And again, chi-square, so this first one that they ask is, you've got the information of a table that's 5 rows and 4 columns. So the first thing that they want you to do is degrees of freedom. Remember your degrees of freedom, what the formula is, row minus 1, column minus 1. So that will give you one of the options. And then the critical value that you will need to work out, you will need that degrees of freedom in any case for that. So remember, when you have the degrees of freedom and alpha. So on your table, again, you will look at chi-square. So it's probably the other way around. Let's just quickly go up. Okay, so chi-square, degrees of freedom. So let's say it was 8, and let's say it was 0.05 or something like that. Your 8 and where it crosses 0.05, that will be your answer. So just look at the first thing is to work out your degrees of freedom. And then the second one is to work out your critical value. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So the other thing, if it's not in the next question, so remember the other things around your chi-square. So what is H0, what is H1? And then the other one is to work out that if you get the table like we will get now, how to work out the expected value, but I don't think they're going to ask us how to work out the expected value. Okay, so the other thing that they could have asked here is work out what is the expected value of something like Lesotho and business. Okay, so in this one, they give us the data, they tell us 5% level of significance. They tell us, suppose that the T-stat is that, what is the decision that you're going to make? Okay, so only thing I'm going to do here is what you will need to do. Okay, draw the diagram. There's the 20.11. So that's the T-stat. Work out the critical value. You've got the table to get the degrees of freedom. You got that 5%. Then plot that critical value on this. So if it's there, what is the decision that you're going to make? If it is to the other side, what is the decision that you're going to make? Okay, so that is what you need to do with this question. So you don't need to work out anything with this. You were given what the T-stat is. You have all the information to get the critical value. So then you can make the call on having those two numbers and then what your call is going to be. Okay, so that is how we're gonna solve this one. And then there's supposed to be 2 questions left, and that will be on study unit 11. Okay, so again, if you look at study unit, the questions on study unit 11, very important is for the first one, what they give you. So they give you consider the estimated regression line. So I give you the regression line. They tell you what the R square is, or R to the power of 2. So they give you the coefficient of determination. So you need to work out what is the coefficient of correlation. Okay, and how you work that out is by the square root of that. Okay, so let's do this, because there's something important again in here that I want to show you guys. So 0.9, the square root of 0.9 is plus minus 0.95. Okay, so now you see there's the minus 0.95 and there's the positive 0.95. Okay, so you need to make a call on which one it is. Okay, so they give you the straight line. So the straight line should give you that indication. Okay, so how do we make that call? Remember what is in front of the x. So it's minus 2. So it's a minus. We then know that that minus is the indication of what the correlation is also going to be. Okay, so the direction of the line is also indicating to us what the correlation is going to be. And that's why it's the minus and not the positive. If it was plus 2x, then the correlation would have been positive 0.95. Okay, so again, a question that can catch you out very easily, because if you're going to work out the square root of 0.9 on your calculator, you're going to get the answer of 0.95. Then you're going to pick E, which is the incorrect one. Okay, so there's a reason why they gave that straight line. Okay, and then the last one. So the last one, again, you can see they're not giving you the data. So we can't put the data in Excel or in your calculator. So they give you other information that you need to use. Okay, so what you need to basically get to is, so let's suppose that the least square method. So do we have a formula that covers this information that they give us? And that you will then need to put together to work out the coefficient of determination. Also, coefficient of determination, because it's R square, it will always be a positive number. So at least they didn't give us any negative numbers here, which you could have eliminated. But because R square, it is always a positive number. Okay. So that is, I think this was actually the paper of last year in some sense, that was given. So the most important thing around this, and next week, Tuesday, the ones that we haven't gotten to tonight, I'll show you how to do it. And then next Thursday, we'll go through another exam paper. But nearly the most important thing for the exam is get your timing right for the questions. That is mostly you run out of time. So you've got 23 questions in 2 hours, so it is around 4 minutes a question. And that is unfortunate. How so? If you look at it, um, it is around four marks a question. Um, the positive, if you can put it as positive, the last year, since last year, they've also given, it was always 0 or 4 marks. But since last year, they're giving, and you would have seen it in your assignments as well, if you get if you're on the right track with the answer, but somewhere you made a mistake, you will maybe get 1 or 2 marks. So something in a sense here where this might have been 4 marks. If you selected the positive, you might have gotten 1 or 2 out of the four instead of the four. So um, yeah, see, there's in a lot of these questions, you can see that. So for things that is just wrong, you're not. So if you now selected 0.9 or minus 0.92, just because that was also a negative, for something like that, you will get 0 marks. Okay, because it's just not able to get to an answer like that. So the same if I look at, so yeah, if you've done the T, got it right, you would have gotten 4. If you made the mistake to go with Z, there will be an answer for you. You will then select it, but then you might get 1 because you still did the rest of the process correct. So that is one thing that they definitely have changed since previous years. There's some that is just wrong, nearly in a sense. So where was that standard deviation one that was popular? Okay, so this one where we said sample. So sample again, if you said sample, that would give you your full marks. If you said if you worked it out with your population formula and it was maybe B or E, you might get 1 or 2 out of 4. But if you add these two, that is just totally out of sync with all the rest of the answers, you will probably not get a mark. Okay, so that is how they will work with your questions. Okay, guys, so that's it for tonight. I will share this document that I made the notes on with you guys. And then next week, Tuesday, we will just all the ones that I gave you hints on, we will just complete, and then we will start looking at more questions as well. Okay, so that's all for tonight. I'll share the recording and this on our WhatsApp group later tonight for you guys. Okay. Have a great evening, everyone, and then see you next week. And good luck with all the other exams that you are still writing. Cool. Cheers, everyone.